Hello, welcome back, Book Bestie. I hope you're having a wonderful day. We're going lo-fi today, lo-fi. So, anyway, this is my June Reads video. So, I'm going to start with the Kindle and tell you what I read on the Kindle. So, the first book I read on the Kindle in June was the final book in the A Tale of Ribbons and Claws series. It's called Checkmate by Rachel E. Scott. It was a fantastic book that wrapped up a fantastic series. In this series, which I talked a little bit about the first two books in my last video, my May Reads / June TBR, and I loved this series. I didn't want to talk too much about it before because I hadn't read the last one, so I didn't want to give too much away because you never know. But anyway, I have had series that have just like crashed and burned in the last book, and I was devastated and I hated it. And that made me like just hate the whole series. So I don't know why that happens sometimes, but of course, obviously, somebody thought it was good, but it just wasn't. I guess sometimes they don't end the way I want them to, or the way I expect them to, and it makes me mad. I'm that person sometimes, yes. Anyway, so in this series you have two main characters. The female main character, she is an elf and believes that she's the last of her kind. Her name is Caroline, and she's a vigilante. I am not telling you anything that is not like in the first chapter, the first book. She truly believes she has been raised that she's the last elf in existence, and so she uses her abilities to be a vigilante to try to help others. And she ends up meeting Morgan, who is a bear shifter. They are referred to as berserkers in the book, and he is so sweet, very gruff, very rough around the edges, but so sweet. And she definitely softens him up as it goes, but they end up meeting, and the story goes from there. But you have a girl who has to learn to be a queen. You have a guy who's perceived to be the bad guy, who has to learn to not be a bad guy, to show the world who he really is. You have an unknown enemy who could be literally anyone, and may or may not be right in plain sight. And in stories like this, they're never who you think they're gonna be. Like, never. And I love a book or a series that keeps me guessing all the way to the end. Love that. Anyway, so it was just so cute how, people overcoming differences, learning how to work together, learning how to accept change tradition. Just a lot of great morals, a lot of great thoughts and great storylines throughout the series. And there are 3 books in the series: Stalemate, Bondmate, and Checkmate. So definitely check those out. There are Christian undertones that run throughout the whole book, the whole series, And so if that's not your thing, there you go. But also, if that's not your thing, just be warned, you're going to see a lot more of that on this channel. So do with that information what you will. Anyway, the next one I read was A Bride of Fallen Stars by Victoria McCombs. I loved this book. I devoured this book. I read it so fast. And I really enjoyed it until the very end. I loved the storyline. I loved the idea. I loved the thought that went into this. A queen ripped from her throne, a star fallen from the sky, a king who has to not only save his own throne and his own kingdom, but help save someone else's. An unknown enemy who could be literally anyone. But is it who they really think it is? Is their enemy what they think it is? Are they fighting a power that they truly understand? That's the question through the entire book. But at the last minute, it curved in a direction I was not expecting it to go. And before I could find out if we could redeem this, it ended on a cliffhanger. And the next book doesn't come out until January. It is July. I am so mad. I did this to myself. It's my own fault. I'm not saying the book goes in a bad direction. I'm not saying I don't like the book. I will definitely at least give the next one a try. See if it circles back around to a place I could be happy with. I don't know. I do have some other books by this author in my queue on my Kindle. So we'll see what happens with that. And then the next one I read was Dreams and Dragon Wings by Ashley Willingham. This is from her collection, Clean Fairy Tales for Adults. There is a very strong Christian underlay theming throughout the whole book. And that is intentional on the author's part. This one, the fairy tale world in this one very much reminded me of Narnia. It very much reminded me of Narnia. Which was great because I loved Narnia. I was a total Chronicles of Narnia kid growing up. I read them all except for the last battle in elementary school. And my mom made me wait to read that one until I was old enough to understand. I was a teenager and I was old enough to understand the subtext in the last battle. Anyway, loved this one. This one is a gender flipped Sleeping Beauty. So instead of the princess being the one to fall into a deep sleep and have to be saved and awakened by the prince, the princess has to save the prince from the deep sleep. He's the one that's cursed, not her. But they both end up having to save each other. He's a dragon shifter. She is a fairy. So, a little flip-flopping done there as well. You do still have the three little pixie fairy godmothers, which are hilarious and adorable, and I love them and I want them in my life. This was just such an amazing book, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. She does have 2 more in the same Clean Fairy Tales for Adults collection, and I do intend to read them at some point. So, and I also have some other books of hers from other series in my queue on my Kindle as well. So, I'm very much looking forward to checking out some more of these books. So anyway, those were the 3 books I've finished on my Kindle. I have another one that I'm about halfway through and absolutely loving, and I cannot wait to tell you all about it at the end of the month. I'm not positive, but I think it's also one of a series, but I don't remember. I've got so many I added to my Kindle all at the same time. So anyway, now moving on to physical books. There were only 2 this month, but they were both fantastic. So the first one was Murder in a Scottish Shire by Tracy Hall. This one is the first in a series, which there are many of them already out. And I am so excited because this was a fantastic book and a phenomenal first book in a series. Like, it wrapped up nice and neat with a pretty little bow, but left it open-ended enough that you're excited to see where Paisley's story goes, see what happens in her personal life. There might be a couple potential love interests in the future, so are we gonna end up in a love triangle? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. So, this was just such a fantastic book, and I absolutely loved it. And I have to say, I did not guess who did it. Did not guess it. Did not expect it. It really came out of left field, and I loved it. I love when I can't figure it out in the first few chapters of the book. I love when I can't figure it out by the halfway point in a book. I love when they keep me guessing and I'm not just reading to find out if I got it right. That I genuinely still don't know right up until the reveal. I love it. You also find out that not everyone is as they seem. Everyone has the potential to be bad things. It's what we do with the circumstances given to us that make the decision on whether we're a good or bad person. It's not all of it, obviously there's a lot more to it than that, but that's kind of where you those are the conclusions you kind of draw from this one. So, Murder in a Scottish Shire, fantastic, cannot wait to read the rest of them. And the next one, which, full disclosure, I do actually have a couple more chapters left, but I don't even care because I will get this book finished probably tonight. So we're close enough. But Booked for Revenge, the second book in a Tomes and Tea mystery series by Karen Rose Smith. This book was so worth the wait. It was so worth the wait. And now I'm just mad I have to wait for book 3. But it was so good. Like, I have no words for how good this book was. Again, I do know at this point who did it. That is revealed right at the very end. But like I said, I just this much left. Like I said, I will get this finished before I go to bed tonight, more than likely. If not, I will be up early in the morning to finish it. But it is revealed kind of right there at the very end, and in the last couple of chapters. And again, I didn't guess it. I did not expect it. I had multiple other people I suspected. The person who did it was not on that list at all. And I love when an author can do that. The last book was the same way. I think it's a trend of Karen Rose Smith. I think that's one of her signature MOs, and so I am looking forward to reading more books from her. This one is the Tomes and Tea Mystery series. I also have several books from the Daisy's Tea Garden series, which I'm very much looking forward to jumping into, but I'm curious to know if this is her signature, that like they literally come out of left field and you cannot guess who did it because you've already like marked that person off the list. They couldn't have done it. They couldn't have done it. And then it says that's exactly who it is. Like, what? Who does that? Karen Rose Smith, apparently. Like I said, I'm not mad about it. I'm loving it. I love when books can keep me guessing. Now, there was one book I read one time, Side Story, and that is actually the first line in the book. They tell you who did it in the first line of the book. But you don't know that that's what they're telling you. And I'm not going to tell you the name of the book. I'm not going to tell you what the actual first line is because somebody told me and then they gave me the book to read. And as soon as I read the first line, I was so mad because I immediately knew who did it. So basically, the book opens with the line that it was all somebody's fault. With not the line, but it was, it opens with a whole montage about how everything went wrong and it's all this person's fault and they're the reason that like all this stuff happened. But what you don't realize is that is literally, they are saying it was their fault. Everything that happened because of them. And you think they're talking about something else. And like the brilliance of that is just it can't be beat. Karen Rose Smith has a very, very close second to that, and the fact that you go all the way through never guessing who it is, and then bam, right at the very end, there it is. You've gone through all of this and you can't figure out who did it, and then all of a sudden there it is, and it came completely from a place you didn't expect. I know I just keep going on about this, but to just, I love it. It's brilliant and it's fantastic, and I am now officially an even bigger fan than I was when I started this book. So there you go. So anyway, this was my June reads. I'm still trying to figure out my July TBR. I still haven't figured that one out. I know definitely one of them. Definitely coming back around to the Gloverton Charade and finishing that one. And that's probably going to be the first one. I'm probably going to try to go back to a Dance in Donegal and actually get to that one because it's been on my TBR list for like 3 months running and haven't gotten read yet. So I'm probably going to move into that one next after the Gloverton Charade. But past that, I haven't decided. I know I need to come up with at least one more to try to squeeze in. There's probably going to be, again, a lot more on the Kindle this time because I know I've got at least 1 week this month that I'm not going to get anything read really, unless it's just a few minutes here and there on my Kindle app on my phone. But but I'm gonna see what I can do. I'm going to do my best. My goal is 3 physical books this month. So, not 1, not 2, but 3. Not 1, not 2, but 3. 3. So, anyway, stay tuned to see what I end up deciding to read for July. And we'll see you next time. I hope you enjoyed. Check out some of these books, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.